What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Micheal Coppinger. According to Micheal Coppinger, he states that there is a good chance that Terrence Crawford may go to the PBC. And my thoughts on this, because this has been bounced around a lot. I feel that Terrence Crawford's making good money over there with Top Rank, but he's not getting the fights that he wants. He's not getting the Errol Spence fight. He's not, Sean Porter is, here nor there. He's, he's hot then cold. Danny Garcia, he didn't want the fight. He turned the fight down because, I remember when those negotiations started. And according to Micheal Coppinger, it's a good chance that he may. First of all, let me counterpunch Micheal Coppinger. That's just his hypothesis. That's not something that came from the camp of Crawford. Okay, so to be clear, that's just how he feels about what he thinks Terrence Crawford may do. Doesn't mean he's going to do it. He's never said anything about going to the PBC. He's never done any of that. In fact, why would you want to go over to a promotional company that you can't currently work with? They ain't offering you any more money, but they're not even offering you opportunity to fight their fighters. And if you were a fighter in the outside looking in, like Terrence Crawford is, you would see a group of people that don't make their own decisions, claiming that they're their own boss with a guy that's never ever really seen, right? And so he's like, this is the problem. You see guys that talk a lot. They're on Twitter like Gervonta Tank Davis and Errol Spence and all these guys. But at the end of the day, you see, he looks at those guys and he sees that they do not have rights over their own career. They can't make certain type of decisions. Look at Errol Spence. When Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford talked face to face and they were going back and forth, and you had Bob Arum there, okay? Errol Spence said what Al Heyman told him the fighter selection is. Okay, he didn't tell him that it was one of those things where there's a possibility of any other fighter, just the fighters that he spoke of. And that's that. So if Errol Spence was his own boss, this is what we would have. So if I'm Terrence Crawford and I see a group of guys that are joined that are working under the banner of the PBC, and they can't make their own fights, and they're on their own little island over there, why would I want to join that own island? Because there's no guarantee that he will get the fights anyway if he went over there. He would probably get some Collazo fights, a Omar Figueroa fight or something like that, because Al Heyman, his thing is he wants something to build. He wants stuff to build. He doesn't want to get all of his fighters in there. Those guys will fight 2 or 3 other people we never heard of before thinking about putting them in there with each other. That's exactly what he did with Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia. Okay, so if Bud Crawford did go over there, there's no telling how that would go. That would probably be the worst decision he could make. Why? Because he's a champion that the PBC and Fox don't even recognize, for one. For two, Al Heyman might sign Bud just to keep him away from Errol Spence, because that's the person they want to market. It happens all the time. You hire the competition to keep the competition away from the person that you're actually trying to promote, and that's Errol Spence. So there's no guarantee that he will get those fights. He may get a Danny Garcia fight one day. What, about a year and a half, when he's damn near 34, 35 years old of age? And then it won't matter because your reflexes are not going to be the same from age 33 to age 35. Unless you're somebody exceptional like Floyd, but not everyone's like Floyd. Okay, and Floyd's a totally different story. Floyd picked his own fight, so there you have it. Not the guys that people want you to see. And these are top fights. Sean Porter, Crawford. Danny Garcia, Crawford. Errol Spence, Crawford. All these are top names that can be made, and they're not being made. So if I'm Terrence Crawford, I just see a promoter or /manager/advisor, Al Heyman, that does not like to work well with others. So if that's the fact, what happens when he beats all them if he gets those fights? That means anybody else that's a challenge outside the PBC, he's not going to be able to fight anyway. Counterpunch. So no. So to set the record straight, I think it's a horrible idea for Bud to go over there just for the sake of him going over there for what? For what reason? There's no guarantee. Look what happened to Manny Pacquiao. Let me give you a great example. Manny Pacquiao was tricked into joining Al Heyman in the PBC with Fox because he was promised by Mayweather a Mayweather rematch. Remember that December? I think it was 2018 going into 19. He promised Manny Pacquiao a fight, right? And when he signed, he said, I don't want it no more. So he tricked his ass into it, and he still had to fight 2 or 3 times on the PBC banner. That's the exact thing I'm talking about. Okay, so there's no guarantee with those guys. So no, I would stay where I'm at, make my money. And if those guys don't want to fight, there's a reason for it. They don't want to lose because everybody wants to be Mayweather. But that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about Bud Crawford possibly going to the PBC and Fox. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.